I found my own presentation on the company intranet under my manager's name on a Thursday morning at 8:42. Not a similar presentation, not one inspired by mine. Mine. The same structure, the same data points, the same 3 case studies I had spent 11 days researching and writing and formatting, the same conclusion slide with the same recommendation that I had rewritten 4 times before I was satisfied with it. My name was nowhere on it. His name was everywhere. I sat at my desk and looked at my screen for a long time. Then I opened my email and I found the thread from 6 weeks earlier where I had sent him the draft for review. His reply, 2 lines, no suggested changes, was still there. Good work. I'll take it from here. I had thought he meant he would present it on behalf of the team. He had meant something else entirely. I forwarded the email thread to myself on my personal account. Then I picked up my phone and I called HR. What happened next made everything worse before it made anything better. But it made everything better. But before we dive deeper into this story, I want to ask you a small favor. If you're new here, please hit that subscribe button right now. We are on our way to 2,000 subscribers and we are not even halfway through. Every single one matters deeply to me. And if this story already has you feeling something, go ahead and tap that like button. It takes 2 seconds, and it truly means the world. Thank you. Now let's get into it. I had been working at the company for 3 years when this happened. 3 years of consistent, reliable work in a mid-level research analyst role that I had grown into carefully and deliberately. I was not the loudest person on the team. I was not the most visible. But I was thorough in a way that my colleagues had come to rely on, even when they didn't always acknowledge it openly. My manager's name was Greg. Greg had been with the company for 9 years and had the specific confidence of someone who had been in one place long enough to confuse familiarity with competence. He knew every process, every shortcut, every unwritten rule of the department. What he lacked, and what I understood only gradually over 18 months of working under him, was the ability to generate original thinking. He was excellent at presenting ideas. He was not particularly good at having them. I had noticed over time that Greg's most impressive contributions in senior meetings tended to follow periods of close collaboration with members of his team. A suggestion he made in a Monday briefing would often echo something one of us had said to him the previous week. A recommendation he put forward to leadership would carry the shape of a conversation we had in a Tuesday afternoon catch-up. I had mentioned it once to a colleague, carefully, obliquely, without making a direct accusation. She had shrugged and said, "That's just how it works here." I had accepted that, for a while. Then he took my presentation. The presentation had taken me 11 days. It was a market analysis piece, detailed, data-heavy, requiring the kind of patient, methodical research that I genuinely enjoyed and that I was genuinely good at. Greg had asked me to prepare it for a senior leadership review. I had delivered it to him 6 weeks before the review date to give him time to provide feedback. He had provided none. He had simply taken it, removed my name, added his, uploaded it to the intranet the morning of the leadership review, and presented it to a room full of senior leaders as his own original work. I knew this because a colleague who had attended the review mentioned it to me casually that afternoon. Greg's presentation was really strong today, very thorough. I said thank you, and went back to my desk and opened the intranet, and found it in 30 seconds. I called HR that same Thursday afternoon. I want to be honest about how that conversation went because I think people deserve to hear the truth about these processes rather than a cleaned-up version of it. The HR representative, a woman named Sandra who spoke in the careful, measured tone of someone who has been trained to manage situations without resolving them, listened to everything I said. Then she asked if I had documentation. I told her about the email thread, the draft I had sent, the 2-line reply. The timestamps that showed my document predated Greg's version by 6 weeks. She said she would look into it. I heard nothing for 8 days. When she called back, she told me that Greg had explained the presentation was a collaborative effort and that as my manager, he had the authority to submit teamwork under departmental leadership. I asked if she had looked at the email thread. She said the situation had been reviewed and no further action would be taken. I asked to escalate. She said she would note my request. Nobody called. I followed up twice over the following 3 weeks. Both times Sandra told me the matter had been reviewed and closed. I sat with that for a while. Not with anger, though I felt it, but with the specific feeling of someone who has done everything correctly and been told that doing things correctly is not enough. I made 2 decisions. The first was to document everything from that point forward with a precision I had never applied before. Every email, every meeting note, every piece of work with timestamps and version histories and paper trails so thorough that nothing could be attributed to anyone else again. The second was to apply for every relevant internal position that came up, quietly, consistently, without telling anyone, including Greg. I applied for 4 positions over the following 6 weeks. I was rejected from 3 without interview. The 4th was different. I want to pause here for a second, because I know some of you listening right now have been in exactly this position. You did everything right, you followed the process, you trusted the system to work, and it didn't. And you had to sit with that and decide what to do next, without any guarantee that doing the right thing again would produce a different result. If that's you, I see you. Drop a comment below and tell me your story. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do it now. We are building something real here together, and I want you to be part of this from the very beginning. The 4th position was a senior research lead role in a division I had always wanted to work in, but had never felt ready to apply for. I felt ready now. Not because anything external had changed, but because something internal had. There is a specific clarity that comes from being treated unjustly and choosing not to collapse under it, from deciding that the unfairness of one situation is not a verdict on your ability to succeed in the next one. I prepared my application over a weekend. Thorough, specific, evidenced with examples of work that I could prove was mine because I had been documenting everything meticulously for 2 months. I submitted it on a Monday morning. 2 weeks passed with no response. I had almost stopped thinking about it when my work phone rang on a Wednesday afternoon with an internal number I didn't recognize. The woman who called introduced herself as Catherine. She was the new divisional director, appointed 3 weeks earlier from outside the company, which was why I hadn't recognized her name. She had reviewed my application personally, she said. She had some questions. Would I be available for an informal conversation the following day? I said yes. We met in a small meeting room on a floor I had never worked on. Catherine was direct in the way that genuinely confident people are direct. No performance of authority, no careful management of the conversation, just honest questions delivered with genuine curiosity about the answers. She asked about specific projects, specific methodologies, specific decisions I had made and why. I answered everything clearly, and with the specific confidence of someone who had done the work and could prove it. At the end of the conversation, she asked one more question. Your current manager submitted a market analysis piece to the leadership review 2 months ago. Were you involved in that work? I looked at her for a moment. Then I said, I wrote it. I can show you the original draft with the timestamps, if that would be helpful. Catherine looked at me for a long moment. Then she said, I would find that very helpful, yes. I sent her the email thread that evening from my personal account. She called me the following morning. I want to be careful about how I tell this part, because I think accuracy matters more than drama. Catherine did not call me to tell me Greg had been fired. That is not what happened, and I think pretending otherwise would make this feel less true than it is. What she told me was that she had reviewed the documentation I had sent, and that she had some questions she needed to pursue internally. She also told me, and this is the part that mattered most to me in that moment, that my application for the senior research lead position had been successful, and that she would like me to start in the new role the following month if I was willing. I said I was willing. Greg's situation I found out about indirectly over the following weeks through the ordinary channels of workplace information. A restructure was announced. His role was among those affected. He left the company quietly at the end of the quarter. I don't know the full details of what happened between him and Catherine or HR. I know that I documented everything. I know that I applied for something better. I know that when the right person asked the right question, I told the truth and provided the evidence to support it. And I know that on my first day in my new role, I sat at a desk 2 floors above my old one and opened my laptop and started work on a project that was entirely mine. My name on every document, nobody taking it from anywhere. And that is where her story ends. Let me step out of it for a moment and talk to you directly. If I am being completely honest, and I always will be on this channel, what struck me most about this story is not the ending. It is the middle part. The part where she followed the process correctly, and the process failed her, and she had to decide what to do next, without any guarantee that things would improve. That is the part most people don't talk about. Because we love the part where the new director calls. We love the justice of it. But the real test of someone's character is not how they handle the moment things go right. It is how they handle the weeks in between, when they have been dismissed and ignored, and told that what happened to them doesn't matter, and they choose to keep going anyway. That is what I respect most about her. She didn't perform her anger. She didn't make it a spectacle. She just documented everything, applied for something better, and told the truth when someone finally asked. And if you are in a workplace right now, where someone is taking credit for your work, document everything, every email, every draft, every conversation you can record in writing, not because you are planning revenge, because you deserve to be protected. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever had someone take credit for your work? What did you do about it? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one and I genuinely want to know. If this story resonated with you today, please give it a like. It helps more people find this channel and hear stories like this one. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do it now. I will see you in the next story. Take care of yourself, always.